A digital entrepreneur, one of the most brilliant minds in his space, found himself completely frozen. He wasn't failing because he was lazy. He was terrified because he felt obsolete. The very technology he once championed, the rise of automated intelligence, now seemed to make his hard-won expertise worthless overnight. He was drowning in the hum of servers and the glow of interfaces, paralyzed by the fear of displacement, convinced his career was finished. Today, let's explore the deep and life-changing wisdom of Jim Rohn, as I recall the moments he shared these profound truths with me. I want you to ponder these 4 questions. The first and most important is why. That entrepreneur, my friends, was trapped in a digital winter. His home office, once a command center of innovation, felt more like a tomb. The silence was only broken by the soft, accusing hum of his high-end workstation and the relentless ping of notifications, each one feeling less like an opportunity and more like a reminder of how fast the world was moving without him. He wasn't just in a slump. He was in a state of profound apprehension, a digital fog so thick he couldn't see the path forward. He would scroll through platforms, a digital ghost watching the new world. He saw a complex, multi-layered marketing campaign, complete with video scripts, ad copy, and market segmentation, generated by a new AI platform in less than 30 seconds. A task that would have taken him and his team 2 weeks of brilliant, painstaking work. He felt the blood drain from his face. The air in his lungs felt thin. His hands, resting on the keyboard, felt heavy, useless. The criticism wasn't even personal, which somehow made it worse. It was systemic. The new models are 10x faster. Why hire a strategist when the AI can build a better plan for a fraction of the cost? These weren't just comments on a forum. They felt like judgments, obituaries for his profession. He'd stare at his own monitor, the cursor blinking on a blank page, his hands hovering, but the drive, the fire that defined him, was gone. It was replaced by that single, crushing, repetitive question, an echo in the silence of his office. Why? Why bother? Why pay this excruciating price? Why work this hard? Why sacrifice sleep and relationships? Why go this far, only to be lapped by an algorithm? Why try to learn this much when all the knowledge is obsolete in 6 months? Why try to become all that you can possibly become if all you can become is no longer necessary? That is a good and terrifying question. And you are the only one personally that can answer that question for yourself. This why, my friends, wasn't a question of purpose. It was a question of surrender. It's the most dangerous why a person can ask because it seeks permission to quit. He was asking why from a place of defeat. He felt ashamed of this fear. He remembered the applause from his last keynote, the congratulations on his last successful launch. That success now felt like a cruel joke, a high peak from which to fall. He was on a video call with his business partner, a younger, more pragmatic mind. He tried to articulate his concerns, his vision for a human-centric approach. His partner, barely looking up from his phone, replied, "Look, man, we have to cut the fat. The model is the model. It's just business." He didn't say the words, but the entrepreneur heard them loud and clear. You are the fat." The click of the call ending was deafening. He was obsolete. He had to find a different why. You've got to have your own list of whys. Here's what I want you to do. Work on your list of whys. One of the big thrusts for success, the fuel for the fire, is to come up with a strong enough why. He needed a list, not of whys to give up, but of whys to push forward. I remember Jim Rohn mentioning that the why is the most critical piece of the success puzzle. He always made it a point to remind us, if the why is powerful, the how is easy. Right now, the entrepreneur's how, learning to integrate this new alien technology, seemed impossible. But his why was weak. It was based on fear. So he had to change the question. He pushed back from the glowing screen. He turned off the notifications. He walked to his bookshelf and pulled out a simple leather-bound notebook and a pen. The analog texture, the friction of the ballpoint on paper, was a welcome contrast to the cold, frictionless glass of his devices. He didn't write, "Why compete?" He wrote, "Why did I start?" He wrote, "To build something that matters." He wrote, "To provide for my family, to give them a life of choice, not of chance." He wrote, "To solve problems no one else could, to feel the electric thrill of a new idea connecting." He wrote about the promise he made to his younger self, the day he left his safe corporate job, the memory of that mix of terror and freedom. He wrote, "Because I am a creator, not a victim." The list grew, and with every line the fear didn't disappear, but it began to shrink. It moved from the center of his vision to the periphery. He wasn't fighting for his survival anymore. He was fighting for his purpose. That is the first step. You must have your own list of whys. Why are you in this digital arena? Why are you willing to face the distractions, the anxieties, the constant, relentless pace of change? You must answer that for yourself. Now here's number 2. The first question to ponder is why. Here's another good answer to why. It's the second question, why not? Once he had his why anchored, the energy in the room shifted. The question was no longer a lament. It became a challenge. The next question presented itself, a question of audacity, of challenging the status quo he had just accepted as his doom. Why not? He looked at the machine, at the AI interface, not with fear, but with a new, cold curiosity. Why not? Why not see how much he could learn? Why not see how many new skills he could stack on top of the ones he already had? Why not see what kind of person he could become by facing this dragon instead of running from it? This technology, this AI. Why not see it as a partner instead of a predator? Why not see it as the most powerful leverage in human history, waiting for a wise hand to guide it? Why not see what kind of influence he could have by being the human element, the ghost in the machine that guides it? Why not see how many people, just like him, he could rescue from this new oblivion of fear? I want you to take that personal. Why not? The entrepreneur, for the first time in months, felt a spark, not of joy, but of defiance. He opened a new document. He started experimenting. Now here's number 3. Why not you? This, my friends, is where the transformation truly begins. It's one thing to ask why not as a philosophical concept. It's another to ask why not me? The entrepreneur's first attempts were a disaster. They were clumsy, generic, hollow. He asked the AI to help him design a brand voice for a client. The result sounded like a committee of robots trying to sell soda. It was technically perfect and emotionally bankrupt. He felt the sting of failure, a flush of humiliation, even though he was alone. "See, it's useless," the old voice whispered. "You're a fool. You're trying to teach a calculator to write poetry." But the new question was louder, more insistent. "Why not you be the one to figure this out?" It was at this moment his partner called again. "We're dissolving the old company," the voice said, devoid of emotion. "I'm starting a new venture. Fully automated, lean, no overhead." The entrepreneur understood. The overhead was him. The betrayal was swift, clean, and absolute. This was the catastrophic revelation. This was the moment that could have destroyed him. He sat in the silence, the dial tone ringing in his ear. He was no longer just fighting a technology. He was fighting a mindset. The mindset that believes humans are the fat to be trimmed. And then, like a bolt splitting the sky, the truth hit him. The "why not you" question wasn't just a suggestion, it was a command. It became a roar. Fueled by this betrayal, he stopped testing and he started studying. He didn't sleep for 3 months. He wasn't just learning to write prompts. He was in a deep dialogue with the machine. He was learning its language, its biases, its strengths, and its profound, glaring weaknesses. He wasn't just learning to use the tool. He was learning to outthink the mindset that only values the tool. He realized the AI was a mirror. It only reflected what it was fed. He stopped feeding it generic instructions and started feeding it his wisdom, his empathy, his strategic frameworks. He was teaching it his experience, and it was teaching him its speed. He was no longer a victim. He was a pioneer. I wish I could say that to each of you individually, but I want you to take it personal. My personal question to you is, why not you? You, the creator struggling with the algorithm. You, the founder overwhelmed by the noise. You, the professional watching the landscape change with terrifying speed. Why not you? I remember asking Jim Rohn once about how to stay relevant in a fast-changing world. He smiled that knowing smile and said, "Relevance isn't about the tools you have, it's about the person you become. Tools will always change, but character, discipline, and wisdom are permanent. You've got the brains, you have the human experience, the scars, the intuition. You can make the critical decisions. You can study the plan. You can change your life. You can grow immensely, not just in the next few years, but in the next few months. You can make your dreams come true. You can build a financial wall around your family. Nothing can get through." As my friend Jim Rohn used to point out, the greatest rewards are reserved for those who bring value to the marketplace. And what is more valuable than human wisdom guiding powerful technology? The AI can access all of history's data, but it has never felt heartache. It has never felt the sting of betrayal. It has never felt the electric joy of a new idea born from suffering. It has never understood empathy. You do. You can become healthy. You can become powerful, not in spite of these changes, but because of them. You can become the artist, and the AI can become your brush. You can become the strategist, and the AI can become your analyst. Why not you? I'm not just asking this question to be rhetorical. I'm asking it because I believe in the answer, and I'm ready to pledge my support to make your personal dreams come true. That entrepreneur I mentioned, he stopped seeing himself as a victim. He launched a new solo consultancy. His first client was one who had been confused by his old partner's automated generic reports. He sat with them. He used the AI, Liv, to analyze terabytes of data in minutes. But then he closed the laptop. He looked them in the eye, and he told them the story behind the data. He explained the human fear driving their customers' behavior. He used his wisdom to build a strategy from the data. The client was blown away. His income didn't just recover, it tripled, because he was the one willing to ask, "Why not me?" And now, here's my last question. My very last question on the questions to ponder is, why not now? This, my friends, leads to the final, most urgent question. The question that closes the gap between potential and reality. Why not now? There has never been a better time. We are living in a moment of unbelievable leverage. The tools that are available to you right now, for pennies on the dollar or even for free, are tools that emperors and tycoons of old would have given their entire fortunes for. But these tools mean nothing without your direction. This dream you have, the business you want to build, the freedom you want to create, the message you want to share, do not let it die from neglect. Do not let it be suffocated by the fear of change, by the headlines, by the noise of the pragmatic voices who tell you you're overhead. The gap between those who succeed and those who fail in this new economy is no longer a gap. It's a canyon. And it is being forged right now by the speed of implementation. Take this dream and give it life. Take this dream and breathe into it your own personal spirit, your empathy, your unique human wisdom. Use these new tools not as a crutch, but as a megaphone. Use this moment of disruption not as an excuse to hide, but as a reason to charge forward. The future is not waiting to be discovered, it is waiting to be built. And then, like a bolt splitting the sky, the final truth hit the entrepreneur. The AI wasn't the enemy. It wasn't the predator. It was the filter. It was a global filter designed to remove mediocrity. It was designed to force everyone to evolve to their highest level, to force them to be more human, more strategic, more empathetic. The pain wasn't punishment, it was clarification. The time for hesitation is over. The time for deliberation is past. The time for mastering this is right now. Let's go do it. If this lesson is speaking to you, if you feel that urgency, I want you to write in the comments, why not me? Why not now? This is your declaration. This is your moment. That entrepreneur didn't just save his career, he redefined it. He became a case study, a source of inspiration for others in his field who were facing the same paralyzing fear. He started hosting workshops, not on how to use AI, but on how to think with AI. He was no longer just a digital marketer. He was a digital philosopher, a guide for the new frontier. He found that in teaching others, he solidified his own mastery, creating a virtuous cycle of growth. He even started a mentorship program for young creators, the next generation who were born into this new world. I saw him speaking to a young graphic designer, her eyes wide with the same fear he once had. He leaned in, just as a mentor should, and said, "The tools will change again. In 5 years, this AI will look like a toy, but I'm giving you the 4 questions. Why? Why not? Why not you? And why not now?" This, he said, tapping his temple, is the operating system for your mind. It's the only thing that never becomes obsolete. This is the power of asking these 4 questions. They are a compass. They take you from the darkness of why me to the brilliant light of why not me. They transform you from a passive observer of your life into an active architect of your destiny. The wisdom Jim Rohn shared wasn't about a single tactic. It was about a fundamental shift in perspective. It's the understanding that everything you want is on the other side of asking the right questions and then having the courage to act on the answers. The world will always present you with new challenges, new technologies, new market shifts, new waves of uncertainty, but the human spirit, armed with a powerful why and the audacity to ask, "Why not me?" is the most powerful force on earth. Your life, your business, your legacy, it's all waiting for you. It's waiting for your decision. I'm grateful you spent this time reflecting on Jim Rohn's teachings with me. Let them guide your growth. Apply these insights to your own path, starting today. Hit subscribe to stay motivated, like if this inspired you, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know which of the 4 questions resonated with you the most.